Welcome to the Marshall News and Views Show. I'm Elaine Conyers, and my guest today is Brad Gruhot, who is the current director of the Marshall Area Chamber of Commerce. You've been on our show before, but now your title has changed, and we're very glad to have you back. And we want to hear about the things that are being offered by the Chamber now. One thing I know for sure is that coupon book. I buy one every year. I don't use all the coupons, but I spend more than what I save is more than what I spend, and then I give out those other coupons that I don't use to friends, and so it gets used very well.
Right. So our coupon book is going to be out here probably in the first week of March. This is what it's going to be looking like. We have over $1,800 worth of savings every single coupon book, and you know when you hear of go local, buy local, it's usually the Chamber of Commerce that drives that in any community, and Marshall's no different. And this is just a great way to go out and shop local, and $1,800 worth of savings. It's a $25 coupon book. Yeah. And there's $25 coupons in the book. So once you use one coupon, it pays for itself.
That's right.
Also, the beauty behind this coupon book is for nonprofits that want to help sell this book. A nonprofit can sell the book for $25 and keep $5 for their agency or their nonprofit. So if you represent a nonprofit, if you sit on a board of directors for any sort of nonprofit, what a good deal this is.
It is.
Because you're helping out the community, but you're also helping out your business for where you're working too.
Right. Well, I'm so glad that that's continuing, and that we'll look forward to picking those up. Now, will they just be sold at the Chamber or other places also?
Well, that's a good question. So yes, we'll definitely have them at the Chamber. We sell about 1,000 of these books, by the way. But also the businesses that I mentioned, the nonprofits can sell them right at their location.
Okay.
Kids can sell them if they're going on a mission trip, or if they're going on some sort of trip this summer. They might go door to door. They might.
Sure.
Whatever the case is, they'll solicit the books. So a lot of Soulmates sells a lot of these right at their front desk. So there's a whole lot of different businesses that sell them.
Good. Great. We'll look forward to seeing that. So, and I know that there's always a lot of things going on that the Chamber is involved with, and one of the things I just want to mention too is when I introduced you, I said Marshall area, because that's one big change that's taken place, and those of us who live here are so glad for that, because it includes the little towns around us, and many of those people work in Marshall, and we want them to have all these opportunities too. And we've got other communities around that have joined the Marshall Chamber. I think like Cottonwood, right? And I don't remember what the others are. Right.
Cottonwood, Tracy, Ghent, Minneota. In fact, so our membership is pretty strong right now. Our membership is just under 500, about 492, 93, which is really strong for a community this size.
Yeah.
We have about 70 to 75% of the local and area businesses, including about 65 businesses from our neighboring towns.
Wow.
So from the Ghents, the Minneotas, Cottonwood, Lind, and so on. So they see the opportunity.
Yes.
They see the opportunity that they can have visibility for their business on our website, come to our events, into our directory. Our 2016 directory just came out.
Yeah.
And in this directory, businesses, they have the opportunity to pull an ad. Their names and businesses are in the front of this, or like in the first few pages by industry, their name and their addresses in the back. So a lot of different ways, and not only we are the Marshall Area Chamber of Commerce, but economic development-wise, Cal Brink is also the economic development director for Lyon County. So it makes sense that businesses do join from the local areas, because we are not only he's not only the director for Marshall, but the whole Lane County, so it completely
Okay.
makes sense. Yep.
I didn't know that he was director of the county. That's great. He works quite a bit on the state level too, doesn't he? With the
Right.
chamber?
Yes, he works. He's on Governor Dayton's transportation committee. So
Yes.
transportation is one of the things that Cal really focuses
Right.
on. Whether intersection assessments, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of things going on. One of our ultimate goals from a transportation side of things is getting 4-lane highways
Yes.
from St. Cloud all the way down to Interstate 90 past Jackson.
Yep.
So, or not Jackson, but Jasper. So that is one of the things that we've been working on. I think there's going to be some expansion, some passing lanes that's going to be being worked on this upcoming summer. So there's a lot of good things happening,
Oh, yeah.
but we want to see 4 lanes. It makes Marshall more. We consider ourselves a regional hub,
Yes.
but
yeah.
But from some of our larger manufacturing businesses that count on a lot of trucking, it makes us even that much more of a attractive city to do business in when you can have 4 lanes with all those trucking that comes in and out.
Yeah, yeah. So it's wonderful, yeah. And you, since you came, and when did you? Was it a year ago? Maybe
It was summer of 2014.
Yeah, you've seen a lot since you got here.
I have.
Yeah.
I have. There's been a lot of things. So when I first moved, it was 1999, and it looks nothing like then. There's the new high school. Even the college here obviously had the fire, but what they did with the place here,
Yes.
it's just been amazing. Of course, the Red Baron Arena is going to be open here in a couple of months, starting
Yes.
in May or June. There's just so much going on, excitement going on in here in town. A lot of new things popping up for
Yes.
sure. Downtown completely looks different.
Yep.
The intersection right here at Highway 23 and 19 it looks completely different. So
Yes.
it's a lot of exciting things
Yes,
going on.
yes, for sure.
The YMCA is another thing. The YMCA is one
Yeah.
of the hidden secrets here in town that
Oh yeah.
that people a
Yeah.
lot of members there.
Yeah, and you've seen that kind of growth in just a couple of years. I came to town. I shouldn't even tell this. 1957. The population was 4,900, and I saw the university get the opportunity to be located in Marshall, or Marshall got the opportunity to have the university, and everybody worked for this. We went out and raised money. Many of us went door to door, and we collected $2 from every household. But it showed that our residents were anxious to grow. And if you're going to be a regional center, you've got to keep working on that. So just to see all the changes in that many years is just marvelous. And very, very proud to be a resident of this progressive community.
Absolutely.
And the Chamber of Commerce is always the organization that really pushes for that. And then now that we have EDA organization in town, which Cal is also with, so that is wonderful. Well, we preached enough, maybe I certainly have, about the growth of Marshall, but tell us some of the other things that are being promoted by the Chamber now.
Right. So every single month we have an event. It is our after hours events, and we have. It's a good way for a business to hold a social at their business, but at the same time they can show off their business. But one of the nice things is it's a free event that our members can come to and network, try to grow their business, build relationships. We have a really fun one coming up over on O'Connell Street, just on the east side of the mall. It's called A&B Business Solutions. A&B is based out of Sioux Falls. They have a brand new location. You can see it's right on Highway 23.
Okay.
So they have an after-hours event. It's on Tuesday, March 1st from 5 to 7.
Okay.
One of our biggest events of March is going to be our speaker series event with Willow Sweeney. And then Cal and I had an opportunity to go to a conference in St. Cloud last June and see her speak. And basically, her motto is "Live above the line. How we're thinking governs our experience." And basically, are you living your life as well as you can. And she is great. She's going to be speaking. It's going to be here at the SMSU Conference Center, 11:30 to 1 o'clock on March 29th, Tuesday, March 29th. And we're expecting 200 people to come to this.
I bet, sure.
She is fantastic. And the nice thing about her, she'll be speaking for about upwards towards an hour. It'll be the fastest hour speaker you ever come to, because she's great. But what makes a speaker great, not only is she interesting, but she's funny. She can really get the crowd. She's very interactive with the crowd. Her name is Willow Sweeney. It is on Tuesday, March 29th, one of our really good events. Every other month, we have an opportunity for businesses to come in to our Marshall Chamber 101 program. It's our orientation event. It gives a business a good idea what some of the features are of the chamber. Thursday, March 10th is our Women's Connect. Women's Connect is a group of ladies that get together on a monthly basis, about 45 to 50 individuals, and they're going to check out the Merit Center.
Oh,
sure. In March. We just had our young professionals there in February, and what a really nice facility. We had a officer simulation, so our young professionals were going through a gun simulation. And so if somebody were to attack them, here's a big screen, and they had the holster on, and then they had these criminals kind of like charge at them, and how fast you have to get the gun out of your holster. Really interesting. The kind of trainings they have at the Merit Center, and what a really nice facility, and what an asset the Merit Center is to Marshall as well.
And that driving road, or what do they call it?
Driving track.
That too is just amazing, and that we have again something like that in town, because young people need to, that are getting their driver's license, they need to have that experience of what it's like on gravel and at a higher speed and all of that, and that's so important. Students or young people need to not only know how to drive on a 4-lane highway, but there's still a lot of gravel roads out here that they have to experience that kind of thing. And so it's wonderful that we have that facility with so many offerings.
When we were out there last week, you look out in front of the Merit Center, and it looks just like a regular driving road. People can easily mistake it, because that's what it looks like. It's got all the yellow signs and. But what an asset that is for this community, because it's not only are we bringing in people from Marshall, but also the surrounding areas for all the trainings that are out there.
Yeah, that's for sure. I took my daughters and grandchildren to train them how to drive on gravel and out in the country, and I take them over to Dudley, and then there were streets at that time, and then they could learn how to park downtown, but also to learn how to drive on gravel. And I had a grandson from New Jersey, and I took him out, and I was driving, and I deliberately started going back and forth on the road because of that gravel and the speed I was going. He reached for his safety belt and the door. He was going to jump out because he thought this was for real. And I stopped, and I said, now you're going to do this, because you got to know how to drive in difficult situations like that.
Right.
But so it's, not everybody's going to, and Dudley isn't over there anymore, so you can't do that.
No, I don't look forward to those days. My son turns 11 here in just a few days, and I'm not looking forward to that age where I have to go out with him.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing. Well, that's good. And then any other events coming up?
We do. Something that was missing from downtown last year that's coming back this year is our St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Oh, good.
It was something that I think our downtown businesses really miss, especially our restaurants and bars downtown.
Yeah.
It's on a Thursday night. It's Thursday, March 17th, 5:30. Right now, we are still looking for people to be part of the parade. It's just a matter of first come, first serve. It's going to be they start up behind Casey's at 5:15, and the parade starts at 5:30. So we have Mari from the Wooden Nickel that's really spearheading it this year. Again, why would she? I mean, she's part of the Wood Nickel and that whole industry of bars downtown, so that really can get a good business effect from the parade.
So the parade is actually going to start over there by Casey's. Now you're talking about the one on Main Street, right?
Right. Not the new one yet.
Not the new one yet.
Main and First Street.
Yeah.
Main Street and First Street. And it will continue all the way to 5th Street.
Okay.
So.
Now, how come they moved it there? It used to be over by, was it Independence Park? We'd gather there.
I am not sure.
Okay.
I know that's where the homecoming parades are, but
whatever.
Either way, there's going to be a parade downtown again,
exactly.
which is pretty important for a community like this.
It is.
Other than that, that kind of covers March for all of our events that we have going on. We were lucky enough in January and February, we had kind of a short impromptu meeting with Congressman Collin Peterson.
Oh, sure.
He was in our office back on January 22nd. We got a phone call from his local staffer on the 21st. Says, hey, Congressman Collin Peterson's going to be in town tomorrow. He would love to meet you.
Yeah.
See if you can get about 20 business people in the room. Like,
okay. Ooh, yeah.
So spent about an hour on the phone. I got a full room. Had a good visit with Congressman Peterson. I've never met him before. So he flew in on his plane, and then that was just the first of his many stops. He was going from there to Wilmer and so on. He was just on break from Washington, and so we had a good representation in the room to visit with him. Talk about transportation issues. One of the things that the Marshall Chamber has really been spearheading in 2015 is legislation on the ADA, whole ADA issue.
Oh, yes.
So in 2015, we had about 15 businesses that got sued by individuals in wheelchairs without giving the businesses a heads up about their businesses not being compliant, ADA compliant, American with Disabilities Act. And so what we've been working really hard on is to prevent these lawsuits without businesses getting the heads up. It's not only important to talk to Congressman Peterson on it from a federal standpoint, because Minnesota has about 130 businesses that got sued in 2015.
Wow.
California in 2014 had 1,800 businesses that got sued. So it's a really important to have this passed from a federal issue. But of course, in the state issue, that is one of the Minnesota State Chamber of Commerce most legislative priorities for them this year too. So it is on the state chamber's radar. They keep on saying it's because of the Marshall Chamber that's on their radar. So we're very proud of that.
Great,
But the attorney that's been pressing these lawsuits not only presses them in state court, but in federal court. So that's another reason we want to get it passed statewide and federal. Now, we have the same goals. We want businesses to become compliant.
Yes.
We just have a kind of a different way of making sure that they become compliant. We came up with a program in 2015 to come over and do audits for their businesses to help them become compliant. We had some funds set aside to help them become compliant. Now we're working with the Minnesota State Council on Disability, which is a state agency, and then also the State Chamber have come up with some legislation for the 2016 legislative session. So very exciting. So we talked with Congressman Peterson, and we were also talking with the State Chamber of Commerce, Representative Swedzinski, Senator Daines, to get this all fixed.
Wonderful. Well, excuse me, that's something that you took on. Well, it's very, very necessary, but like you said, it hadn't really been done before. So, and I'm sure businesses weren't really up to par as far as knowing what they should be doing either.
Right.
So what are some of the things that they need to do? Does it have to be, we've got some businesses where there's a couple steps to get into a store. Is that allowable, or how does that work?
That's a great question. There is a fallacy out there that says that businesses that aren't compliant could be grandfathered in. That is not true. That is not true. So if they have steps, they need to have another way to get in that doesn't have steps, or a ramp of some sort.
Yes.
So, and even like the threshold as you walk in, the little threshold underneath the door can only be like a half inch off the ground.
Okay.
there needs to be parking spaces. So there for every 25 parking spaces, there needs to be one handicapped one too.
Oh, sure.
With the right kind of sign.
Yes.
That says van accessible, and it has to be 60 inches off the ground. There needs to be a lane next to them with yellow stripes, accessible lane. So there's a whole lot of things that go into it that
Sure.
I bet many of our businesses aren't aware.
Right.
But that's why where we stepped in. We made we did. I would say close to 75 to 80 audits for businesses
Okay.
in Marshall, which isn't enough. We have 500 members almost.
Okay.
We should be almost in every single business,
Yeah.
and we've given them an opportunity, and it's a feature that's not going to go away.
Yeah.
We're going to keep offering this up to our businesses as part of our benefits.
Yeah. Now, I have a specific question about that I don't, I'm sure you can answer. Well, the handicap spots, why is there space on either side with those stripes? Why? Because that's a whole nother parking spot.
Right. That's a great question. So when they get out of their vehicle, they need to have space for them to get out of their vehicle, and then for the space next so they can get out and then wheel around.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. Good. I have been using that lately, but I didn't have a wheelchair. So I thought, well, why is all this room? But so that they can get a wheelchair around there too.
Mm-hmm.
Good idea. So, well, I'm glad that the chamber stepped forward to do something like that. That's
Right.
really good.
There's some work to do yet. The legislature starts on March 8th this year, which is a little bit later due to the fact that the Capitol is under construction.
Oh, sure.
So it's going to be a quick session this year. It's going to be about 8 to 10 weeks. Some of the things that the state chamber is really focusing on, and then we sign on with the state chamber. Tax relief, transportation, workplace mandates are just some of the things that they're going to be working pretty hard on.
Yeah.
It's a bonding year. It's a off-budget year, but it is bonding.
Yeah.
Some other things they're kind of keeping an eye on: healthcare, education, environment, and energy.
Yes.
So there's going to be a lot of things to cram in. I mean, they have a lot of work to do in 8 to 9 weeks.
Yeah.
So we actually are going up there on March 8th. We have something called a Legislative Priorities Dinner.
Okay.
It's a fun thing. It's going to be at the Minneapolis Convention Center this year, and it is all of the chambers of commerce throughout the state of Minnesota get invited.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 1,500 people in the room, and we get to hear from the majority and the minority. So we get to hear. So you got the minority speaker. You got Speaker of the House Kurt Daudt. You got minority. The minority representative Paul Thiessen. You have Tom Bach, and then you have David Hand from Eden Prairie. So they're kind of. It's really interesting, kind of hearing what they think their priorities are versus you get the Democrats and Republicans, and you have the governor sitting right there too. So it's really interesting what their priorities are and how much they have to work together. It'll be an interesting session.
Right. Well, and then also we've always had to work with the legislature on urban and large community priorities, and then they use what they used to call outstate priorities, which now they call Greater Minnesota. I like that much better.
Right.
But there's a lot of people out that in the state that more in rural areas, and we've got needs too.
Absolutely.
And they shouldn't forget us.
Right, and our representatives represent us well here. I think Representative Swedinsky and Gary and Senator Dames are aware of that, and they want to make sure that we stay on the radar. That is for sure.
Exactly. So lots of stuff going on just with that, and so I'm sure that you got a lot there that we haven't even gotten to yet.
Right. Some things coming up. In April, we have our Lyon County Summit. And what that is basically an opportunity where we invite the public in to kind of get a good scope on what's going on here in Lyon County.
Yeah.
So it's something we put in the newspaper and we invite the public. And we usually get about a good 125 to 150 people in. We hear from the county. We usually have a larger private sector business come in.
Okay.
So that way people can kind of get what the scope of business is here in Lyon County.
Yeah. So that's coming up too.
Lyon County Environmental Summit or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
So I've only been to one of them, but
Yeah.
that's coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like you say, a lot of things that are going on, and I just hope that people turn out for these things too, so well, like earlier this week when they had the 23 assessment, that was good, that was offered so that people can understand it and give their opinion too.
And that's the first of a few. I know there's going to be more than one. So
Okay,
there's going to be a little bit some more public forums on that. And
Well, we've got how many highways, state highways going through our town? 23, 19, 68, and
59.
59. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's quite a bit
Right.
of lots of traffic
There's
going through.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
ways to get here.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting, too, we have bypasses, so to speak. But our truck drivers don't, well, they're starting to use it a little bit more, but they're not, they wanted to drive right downtown. They want to see what was going on, but whatever. And I think now they're getting more focused on how to get through quicker and more safely, too. So.
Right, and from my understanding, that bypass on Highway 23 isn't much of a bypass anymore. That is for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
it looks a lot different.
It's pretty, a lot of traffic going on there. Yeah.
Same area, the bridge looks
Yes.
fantastic. It's lit up at night.
Yes.
It sure looks nice. I look
yeah.
forward to when we do the grand opening for that here soon. I'm sure that'll get scheduled, as well as the Red Baron Arena grand opening.
Oh,
That'll be a
yes.
lot of fun. There's a lot of excitement. That's one of the phone calls we sure do get a lot about is the Red Baron Arena. When is it
Oh,
open?
yes.
We're starting to book things already.
Yep.
So a lot of excitement around that. There's obviously the 2 sheets of ice. And then, of course, next year at this time we'll be excited because the baseball fields will be
Yes.
2017, summer of 2017.
2 of the fields,
Yep,
right? Yeah.
yep.
They're still working on the other 2, but I mean, it's just fantastic to see all that growth. And then I'm sure, well, I know that there's a hotel coming, I don't know, and they're going to get started.
Right, right. And the mall, of course.
The mall,
is
yeah,
something that's we keep hearing about. So
Yeah. So it's just, like you say, there's something going on all the time, and bringing people to Marshall, and they're enjoying it, so that's great. Well, so glad to have you back, and I know you will be a regular guest on the show. In fact, when I worked when Cal was doing this, once a month we did it, because it just, there's so much going on all the time. So thank you again for coming. We look forward to seeing you again, and thank you for all the work you do.
absolutely. Thanks for having me.